Yeah, I'm out here at the county tax sale. You know, at the courthouse. They got a tax sale going on today. Yeah. I'm hoping to get a good deal on the house near where I live. You remember that one, that yellow house on the corner? It's been empty for a couple of months. I think the renters moved out. Fixed up, I figure, it's probably worth about 200,000. Other houses in that neighborhood come for that. Yeah. Not a lot of people out here though. I figured there'd be more people. Oh, I think it's about to start. Let me let you go. All right, we'll talk.
Okay, parcel number 7962251 in the name of IRA Properties LLC. The minimum opening bid is $2,723. Do I have an opening bid?
2,800.
We have a bid of 2,800. I'm sorry, sir. Your bidder number, please. Bidder number.
Oh.
Yes, 71. Okay, so 2,800. The bidder 71. Any other bidders?
5,000.
We have a bid now of 5,000. Are there any other bidders?
5,100.
6,000.
6,100.
7,000.
We have a bid of 7,000. 7,000 going once.
7,100.
We have a bid of 7,100. Are there any other bidders?
10,000. 15,000. 20,000.
25,000.
50,000.
75,000.
90,000. 100,000.
We have a bid of 100,000. Any other bidders? Okay, we have a bid of 100,000 going once, going twice. We have a bid of 120,000. Are there any other bidders? We have a bid of 120,000 going once, going twice. Sold to bidder 192 for 120,000.
Hi, thanks for watching that recreation of a scene from a tax sale. So let's talk about what we just saw. So would you think that listening in on his conversation before the tax sale, does it sound like he was well prepared and very knowledgeable about the property that he was purchasing? Or did it sound like he just knew that there was a property in his neighborhood that was going up for sale and he thought, hey, I'll go to the tax sale and maybe I can get it pretty cheap? That's probably more likely. So I see this scene played out time and time again at tax sales. So let's talk about what could be happening here. My first guess would be that either the property was worth a lot more than he was guessing, and that's why it got bid up. Even though it got bid up in this example, let's say $120,000, it could have been worth $300,000 for all he knew. Maybe it had more land. Maybe there was something else going on. But more often than not, when I see something like this happening, it happens in states or counties where the sale has some type of interest rate or penalty component attached to it. So, for example, let's take a state like Alabama or Georgia or any tax lien state where after the tax lien period, at the redemption period, you have the ability to get the property, either through foreclosure or some legal action. What I often see at auction like that is you've got people who come to the auction and what they want is the house for as little money as possible because they actually want the property. They do want to own it at some point. No matter what they have to jump through to get to it, they want that property, especially if it's in their neighborhood or near a relative's house or something. They know that house very well and they just want to get that property. So they'll show up at an auction and they'll start bidding, but their goal is to get the property for as little money as possible. The problem is at that same auction, you're going to have what we call funds. These funds are people who represent a large equity fund or private fund somewhere, and they're just representatives of the fund. It's just basically like a hedge fund or a bank. And their goal is not to get the property necessarily. Their goal is to get the interest rate or the penalty. So let's take, for example, Georgia. In Georgia, it's a tax deed state, but it's a redeemable component of it. During the first year, if the homeowner redeems the property, they pay the high bid plus 20%. Let me back up. They pay the opening bid, the back taxes, but they pay the high bidder 20% of his high bid. So in this example, let's say the house was worth $200,000. Someone from Georgia who wants that house is trying to get it for as little money as possible. But the funds show up and they don't want 20% of $10,000. They want 20% of $120,000. Because in the first year, if that person redeems in Georgia, they're going to make 20% of $120,000. That's $24,000. That could be the first week, or it could be the 11th up to the 12th month. If it goes into the second year, now it's 30%. But let's go back and talk about the research. So when a fund, or when you see multiple funds bidding on a property that way, when this aggressive, usually they've done their research, well, they always do their research very well. They have a high expectation that someone is going to redeem that property, and they won't end up with the property, which more times than not, they don't want. So one of the clues was when the county was calling out the property, they mentioned the owner, and the owner was an LLC. Oftentimes, if a property is in the name of some type of business entity or LLC, that's a big clue that there's a good chance it might get redeemed. There's money there somewhere. They just haven't gotten around to pay the taxes. And once they become aware, they'll pay it. They're probably rehabbing the house, maybe. But also sometimes in the research, you find that there's a mortgage on the property. Funds love to bid on properties where there are mortgages. So here in Georgia, what would happen is they research this property in the title search, and they find, ABC Mortgage Company holds a $180,000 mortgage on this house. Well, things happen. Mortgages get sold. Paperwork gets shuffled around, and the paperwork will catch up eventually. Sometimes it just gets missed. So the strategy for a fund in a state like Georgia will be they'll bid on the property. They'll bid up to $120,000, $140,000. And then after the auction, when everything has been approved and signed off on, the sale has been approved, they'll start papering the mortgage company and asking for them to redeem. Hey, we bought this property. You guys going to redeem, or do we get to keep the house? Of course, the mortgage company is going to redeem because they have a $180,000 mortgage. They're going to pay, in this case, in this example, they would pay $24,000 in Georgia and clear this matter up. It's bad for them, but it's better to pay $24,000 than to lose a $180,000 mortgage. So in this example, those funds, the guys who were running the bid way up, they probably knew that. There was a very good chance that this one was going to redeem. And why not get 20% of $75,000 instead of 20% instead of $10,000? So that's what's happening in a scene like this more times than not. And then the other time likely is someone is bidding on a house and it's way overvalued, or it's worth more than the average person thinks. There's some other component that someone hasn't figured out, or the average person hasn't figured out. And they just show up to the tax auction. They're not real prepared. They think they're going to pick up the house because the opening bid was, in this case, I think it was like $5,000. They think they can just get it for near the opening bid. They see it in the newspaper. They come to the auction to see what will happen. On sales where there are no banks and maybe the owners were deceased, it doesn't look like there's anyone coming to redeem a house. More times than not, you're not going to see the funds going after those houses because they don't think there's a good chance of someone redeeming the house. Sometimes they still do. Different funds have different strategies. They'll just let the property go, or they'll sell it to somebody else. But I hope you enjoyed this dramatization of a tax sale. We've seen this played out many, many times. Anyone who has been tax sales many times, even in just a hobby or just picking up one or two properties, they've seen this type of thing where someone comes, they're not real prepared. That's why if you work with someone like us, roaming investors, we do all the work, we do all the due diligence, and we make sure the outcome comes out a lot better than this. But thanks for watching. And if you have any other suggestions for scenes from a tax sale you'd like to see or explain what was going on, feel free to drop me a note, put a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again for watching.